Gaines, your chairman, and thanks for joining us tonight. We have two very special guests. The first being one of our own, Akila Inslee of North Carolina, who serves as the Democratic National Committee woman for the Young Democrats of America. Everybody say hi to Akila. There she
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
and our really good friend, probably one of the greatest young Democrats walking on earth right now, the incomparable Jason Ray of Wisconsin, who's the co-founder of the DNC Youth Council and just does really, really great work. And Jason, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Rashad, and thanks for having me. We're really excited to be here and to kind of talk this through. So I guess if you want, I can just go ahead and get things started.
Let's do it.
Perfect. So we will be sure to kind of share this PowerPoint after the call with folks, but wanted to just kind of walk through tonight the delegate selection process for the National Convention, because it is a unique process, and as you're seeing with Iowa and New Hampshire right now, and we'll see in Nevada and South Carolina, the role of delegates of the National Convention is an important thing. I think it's something that's very unique. I think a lot of people think that when they are going in to vote in the primaries, that they're going in to vote for a specific candidate. What you're actually doing in those processes is you're voting for individuals to represent you at the National Convention, where we select our party's nominee. So, as just a brief overview, so what we want to emphasize before we get too far into this process is that the delegate selection process itself varies state by state. The process of selecting, of how we select our delegates to the National Convention is a lengthy one, and it actually started in the summer of 2014. The DNC's Rules and Bylaws Committee drafted a call to convention and what they call the delegate selection rules. Those were adopted by the full DNC membership in the winter of 2014, and then they are sent out to each state party. Each state party then has a few months where they're allowed to write their plans. It governs things such as when their caucuses will be held, what dates they're going to have, how you register, when deadlines are, all along that. State parties submit their plan. They're required to have it publicized for a 30-day public comment period, of which it's sent out and it's posted on their website and allows you the opportunity to go and learn what that process is. And then they finally approve it by their state central committee, their state administrative committee, whatever governing body their state party has. And then it's submitted on to the DNC for final approval by the Rules and Bylaws Committee. And why I share all of this is it's been a lengthy process for a lot of these state parties to develop their plan. And we're then ordered to be implemented. Each state party during this implementation process is supposed to engage their state affirmative action committee. This committee really works to make sure that the process is fair, that they're doing trainings that are appropriate. We're just really excited to be here tonight, and I'm really proud to have my vice chair of the Youth Council with me, Akila, to really kind of talk more specifically about what the delegate selection process is, what it means for you, and things to think about as we really work to build the most diverse delegation we can to the 2016 National Convention, where we'll nominate our 45th President of the United States. So with that, Akila, I don't know if there's anything you want to share to help kind of kick us off here.
Key things, I think everything you said, of course, falls right in line. This has been going on for quite some time, and even though it has been going on for quite some time, you all still have an active opportunity to participate. It just varies on where your state is. There are some states that have already completed their DNC selections. Some are very early as far as like the 4-year terms that are happening that are going to be, you know, in that space. And then you also have those that are focusing solely on the convention. Some are going to be slated. Some are going to be run at the very local level as far as the precinct, then looking at your congressional district, and then at your state convention. So it's going to be critical that you all know when those things are going to be happening so that you all have an active opportunity to participate. And that's going to be a little bit of work on your end, talking to your county chairs, precinct chairs, your Democratic committees, depending on your state, as well as working with your local YD chapter, as well as working with your state parties.
That's great. Why don't you, if it would help, why don't you, Akila, talk quickly about the new North Carolina process, and then I can kind of talk about Wisconsin, yes. And then we can kind of talk a little bit further about strategies that people can get elected.
Okay, definitely. So, of course, the easiest for me to discuss is going to be North Carolina. That is my home state. They actually just finished their 4-year delegate selection term elections that happened actually on Saturday. So with that said, we now are going to be going into other important dates. We have our primary coming up. We then have our county convention that's going to be taking place on April 16th. So please look to find out when your county conventions are going to be happening, because that's when you can really start rallying the troops behind you, getting community engagement, because those are the people that are going to vote for you at the district level delegate filing period. That's also where you're going to be pledging your support. So it's going to behoove you to have a really good idea of who you would like to support in the nomination process, because it is going to come up. People are going to ask you very specifically who you're supporting, why you're supporting them, and that can also kind of shift whether they see you as a good candidate or not. One thing I always encourage everyone to remember is we are under the age of 35. That is going to always be your best running point, because you're going to be in a room more than likely with a bunch of 40-plus-year-olds. So please make sure you kind of emphasize the fact that it's important that we are the next generation. We're the progressive movement. As of right now, we're the ones working to fill the shoes of the people that are going to be taking a step back eventually, and this is a great opportunity for you to be able to do that. Once you have your district convention, you will actually run there from the floor, and they're going to decide how many seats. That's also going to vary. So we can't necessarily just tell you, hey, it's always going to be 15 people. Some of that's going to tie back into the affirmative action plan that had to be put together, which Jason spoke to. So there is going to be, for most states, a youth number that they're going to be emphasizing and that they're going to want to make sure that they hit. That's very, very critical. So once you have your district convention,